So the next thing we're going to talk about is hiring those quality people. This is a big one. Getting the good people working for you, the reliable people that you can count on, that do a good job. And not surprisingly, compensation is part of that. What we talk about is there's kind of different tiers of applicants out there. And you need to pay enough to kind of get to that second tier. First tier is entry-level employee, like the same thing that they're paying at every McDonald's and Burger King and Walmart. And, you know, it's the high school kid's job or somebody who's looking for a job, but, you know, we used to say it's minimum wage, but nowadays minimum wage doesn't even get you anyone. Right. So, but that's kind of the entry-level employee. We're looking for someone a little bit above that. So we've got to pay a little bit above that. Yes, that does mean maybe our prices are higher. You've got to do what you have to do to get your business to that level where you can afford these higher level people.
Yeah, absolutely. And keep in mind, we're not looking for someone that's making $100,000 and has an MBA and things like that. What we're typically looking at is about $4 to $5 an hour above minimum wage. Now, that's a moving target, especially in some markets right now. Labor pools are different. But whatever you have to do in your market to get to that second tier labor pool is kind of what we're looking at. And what we've learned through talking to different people in the staffing world and things like that is whether that's $4, $5, or $8 an hour above minimum wage, it's a moving target. You always got to be kind of watching the market. But at the end of the day, unless you're looking for someone that is going to be 100% unreliable and do some pretty awful things in your business, then you're going to want that second tier labor pool. So as Carla mentioned, you're going to have to build a business model that allows you to compensate for that. And that's why a lot of people, when they go from unattended to attended, they add drop-off laundry services, they add drop-off dry cleaning and wholesale that out, pickup and delivery. This is one of the reasons that we're so passionate about the ability and the need for what we call the modernized laundromat to be really a full-service laundry center. I mean, we really believe, it's unfortunate, but we really believe over the next 10 or 15 years that our industry is slowly evolving to kind of the haves and the have-nots. The have-nots are going to be the basic unattended stores that don't do anything else, have low or moderate prices at best, and don't do a great amount of turns per day. The haves are going to be the other end of the spectrum, and there'll be a couple things. They could be just a basic laundromat that just does a high volume. They could be a basic laundromat that has really good prices, but that's all they do is, and by basic, I don't mean not a nice facility. I mean, that's all they do is self-serve laundry. They don't do drop-off, dry cleaning, anything like that. And then the most lucrative business model out there by far is a full-service laundry center, which is obviously what we run now. And when you bring in additional revenue streams, especially when they're tens of thousands of dollars a month, pickup and delivery, drop-off laundry, dry cleaning, even having premium pricing on your self-serve machines and things like that, it really makes a big difference. And if you build a little bit different business model than maybe you have right now, I think you'll learn that it'll actually solve some of your problems. I hear a lot of laundromat operators say all the time, oh, I don't want to do drop-off. I don't want to do pickup and delivery. I don't even want to be attended. And then they're kind of owned by their business, right? So a big part of being able to compensate, whether it's a bonus structure, which we're also big fans of, or their baseline compensation for a GM, an assistant GM, a store manager, which we have all those positions in our operations, the different layers of management, or even paying your attendants a fair wage. Or not fair wage, but just a wage where you can get that second tier labor pool. It's really important that you have the income to do it, because you can sit here and listen to everything we say, and if you don't have any income, it doesn't matter. So that's a big part of it too. Now, going down that line a little bit further of how to find and attract reliable and quality employees is benefits. Now, benefits, everybody always goes right to like health insurance and things like that, and we do provide health insurance for our management and our leadership team, but we don't for our attendants. But you can provide 3 PTO days a year. You can provide company uniforms. You can provide free laundry. There's a $40 a week is what we give our attendants for free laundry as a bonus structure. You can do a lot of different things, but that's part of that compensation package as a whole. And when we're talking about entry-level employees, a lot of times we think we can't afford those things. And in some cases you can't, like an attendant. But in other cases you might be able to, but it might involve pivoting your business model a little bit. Another thing that a lot of people don't think about when it comes to attracting quality people is training. It sounds crazy, but if you happen to pay minimum wage and you attract a rock star employee to your store, let's say by accident, right? They come into your store and within a matter of a week or two, they can see that you have no training guides, you have no accountability, you have no management, you have no schedule, you're just winging it. If one person calls off, it's the owner has to come in 100% of the time. You come across as an amateurish business, whether you should and want that or not. And to that second tier labor pool, you come across as a place that, quite frankly, they don't want to work. It's unorganized. And
it's frustrating.
Right. They have
higher expectations.
Yep. They have higher expectations of you, and you should have higher expectations of your store. So it sounds strange, but actually have an amazing training program with checklists and cheat sheets and supervisors and accountability for training and certain processes and procedures and employee handbooks and things like that. Not rocket science. It doesn't have to be super fancy, but having those things in place where you feel like a professional, well-organized company, it actually helps you attract and retain a better quality person, that second tier labor pool.
A lot of the documents that we use, like our handbook and some of our job descriptions and job
standard operating procedures, things like that. They're all part of our community. So I don't know if you know.
So you can find them, and they're free downloads if you join the Laundromat Millionaire community on our website. So just throwing that out there as another resource for you.
Yep, absolutely. We have, as a side note, we have business plan templates and other things like that are free on our website, even if you aren't in the community. But if you are in the community, there's a monthly membership for that. But you get access to what I call the whole treasure trove of kind of how Queen City Laundry works and runs and operates. And as we improve those things, we update those things. So those are always provided as part of the community membership. If you aren't familiar with that, go check it out on our website because we just launched it, what's it been, Carla, 6 weeks ago, something like that.
Yeah,
and we've already got like 60, 80 members, something like that. So it's growing fast. It's a community where we have chat rooms and things like that. And so we're pretty excited about it. Just
There's
another
a
resource.
searchable video library if you're looking for other resources, other videos. But anyway.
Another thing that kind of goes in line with that beyond the training is the company culture. We hear all the time, despite the fact that we're just a laundromat, we hear all the time, wow, I've never worked at a place like this before. Like, you guys get along and you have fun and you laugh and you enjoy each other's company. And this seems like a really cool place to work. A new employee, it's not going to make them fill out an application. Don't get me wrong. The pay is pretty much going to do that. But if you have that positive,
with the retention.
Yes, but if you have that positive company culture, it will absolutely help you to retain them. What it will also do when it comes to attracting clients or attracting new employees is when you're tapping into your team or your personal networks to attract people to your facility to work there. If you have a friend that works at Queen City Laundry and they love their job and they're well compensated and they have fun and they say, this is the best job I've ever had. If you're their best friend, you're more likely to apply for a job there because all you do is speak highly of the place that they work, whether it's how the owner treats you at Christmas time or whatever that looks like. These all go in. Do not believe for a second that they don't matter. Just something as simple as pulling an employee aside that's having a rough time and just saying, hey, I realize there's nothing I can do for you, but I just want you to know that I care about you. I'm praying for you. If there is something that I can do, please let me know. I know your mom's been in the hospital. And by the way, as you build a leadership team and a management team, that doesn't come naturally to everybody. So you have to coach those people up and you have to train those people and teach them to have what you hopefully have, which is a heart full of empathy, because that feeds back into your company culture. Now, there's a fine line between that and being a pushover and being naive. I'm not suggesting that we go there either, but these things do matter. The last
something little we even do for an idea is our GM, we pay for her once a month to take an employee out to lunch just to make connections, get to know that person. So every month it's a different person and, she can charge it on the company account. So,
yep, absolutely.
Something little.
Absolutely. We actually insist that she do that. And sometimes it's with her assistant GM, somebody right below them that's also highly compensated. Sometimes it's with a delivery driver. Sometimes it's with a store attendant. And now we've gotten to the point where we actually have our assistant GMs do that on occasion too. So it's part of that company culture. And as we mentioned, we didn't used to do any of this, okay? Any of this. Most of this has come to fruition in the last 3-4 years where we've really been able to polish it up. We've had some semblance of some of these things, but we've really been able to streamline this and just really make an amazing company culture in the last 3 or 4 years. A lot of that is having the people, having the time, having the right hearts, and yes, having the budget to take somebody out to lunch and things like that. The last aspect of it is offering upward mobility. Like, you know, I always tell people, don't dangle a carrot. Like, don't dangle that carrot when you have no intention of actually giving it to them. But if there's a true opportunity for upward mobility in your company, then you should be promoting that and offering that and not promising that, but just simply saying, yeah. I mean, if you look at our GM and our 2 store managers and our assistant GM, they all started as store attendants. And I'll tell them, you know, I don't really have these conversations much anymore. Our GM and our assistant GMs do. But we'll tell them when we're interviewing, yeah, I mean, we don't plan on, you know, losing our GM or anything, but I can tell you that the owner's ambitious. We're always looking to grow the company, whether it's number of customers or stores or expansion or different things. We don't know what the future looks like, but all we know is that, you know, hey, I started as an attendant at the, you know, our GM is famous for telling people, yeah, all I used to do is wait tables. And now I'm running a multi-million-dollar company. And she's earned every bit of that. So that's part of it. So compensation, bonus structure, benefits, training, company culture, upward mobility. Don't get overwhelmed by that, okay? I know a lot of people that may be listening out there are just like, how could I possibly afford one of those things, let alone all those things? Once again, look at your business model. Is your business model in line? Are you charging the right prices? Is your revenue the right place? What's your competitive analysis in your market? Should you be doing pickup and delivery? And by the way, I want to throw this out there and then we'll move on to number 3, Carla. So many people in this industry assume that the owner is working so hard, covering shifts, all these things now, and they are worn out. And this is supposed to be a means to an end to make my life better, not worse. And so they automatically assume, well, if I build this business and make it more complex, then that's more work for me. And there are times, I mean, there's peaks and valleys for sure where you got to get in there and get in the weeds because you're making some big change or you're hiring somebody or you promoted somebody. There are times where for a few months you might have to jump in and supplement the process, especially if you don't have a bunch of capital on hand. But the fact of the matter is, as you create these different revenue streams, and in our case, these different companies, you're going to create such a huge amount of revenue that you're not used to having in net profit that you're going to be able and should be reinvesting a percentage of that as the company grows. That's what we did, and we'll kind of share that with you.